HPJ podcast to celebrate Pride Month. So happy Pride, everybody. What we're going to do, we're going to start off with the lovely creators introducing themselves, what they identify as, and of course, just speaking about their channel and where you can find them. And my mods will be shouting them out all during the stream, of course, so you'll be able to check out their channels. Make sure you hit the follows, of course, as well. So we're going to start off with Trista. Go ahead, introduce yourself, your channel, and a bit about you.
Hi, I'm Bex Trista, also known as TristaBytes. I've been a presenter, a voiceover artist, and various stuff and things along those lines for, we're coming up for a decade, I think, soon enough. We'll just pretend that's not terrifying. But also, I'm a Twitch partner here, and I do a bunch of streams, a lot of indie games, a lot of backseating by chat, comedy, chatting, nostalgia, and just hanging out and having a chill and sometimes somewhat ridiculous time, occasionally face painting myself into monstrosities in the name of charity, which is pure art. And sorry in advance if you tune into one of those as your first stream of mine, but there is another one of those happening soon. So yeah, for me, pronouns wise, anything is fine, but she, her is usually the easiest one, so that's cool by me.
Your emote has just been put in chat. The blobby one? What is that monstrosity? I had to double check what that was.
What is that? What is that?
That's my face. What are you saying?
Oh my god.
That's my face.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I love this emote.
I spent hours on that, I'll have you know. I've got a pink swimming cap especially.
Did you actually? The nightmare that is Mr. Blobby. It's just nightmare.
The
Mr.
irony
Blobby.
is that I spend a lot of those streams fundraising for Samaritans, which is a mental health charity, and I'm somewhat worried of the damage I'm causing viewers to theirs. I swear it was supposed to be funny, but it came out as a horror movie.
I don't think Smashley and Toph will know Mr. Blobby, but it is a horrifying children's TV show from everybody's childhood. He just says blobby, 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 and he makes it in it's like a voice changer type of thing that he uses to make it sound like a devil.
It is nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
It really is.
People are scarred for life from watching Blobby.
Nightmare fuel.
He's not far off that.
Yeah, except it only says blobby, blobby, blobby. It is a thing of nightmares. I do not know why it was on family TV. I hate it, and that's why people made me face paint it for charity. But I think I won in the end because they can't unsee the results.
Yep, I definitely can't unsee it. I know somebody else who's obsessed with Blobby, a friend of mine, and they have Blobby emotes and Blobby toys in the background, and I was just like, how can you stare at it? I don't know, but there was we actually found a Blobby balloon. I'm gonna send it to you, Trista, because you should have it in your background. It is. Nice. It has a. But you'll have to. This is the best part about it. It has to blow up the balloon. It has the blow up part of the balloon in the middle of the legs.
And
it looks like something. You've seen it.
Foil, so it's shiny and wrong.
Amazing.
Yeah. I've seen that. I can't unsee it, and thank you for reminding me of its existence.
You're welcome. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna allow Chao to introduce themselves, or Chal, and what pronouns they identify as, and a bit about themselves. So go ahead, Chao. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, chat. First of all, just thank you for having me on the podcast. I've been very excited to be part of it, so thank you for allowing me to be part of something, especially Pride related. So happy Pride, everybody. Happy Pride. I'm ChaoIllustrates, so I usually go by Chao or Holly. My pronouns are she, her. And I'm actually an art streamer on Twitch, so I primarily just stream me working on like digital art and stuff. Lots of voluptuous women, you know, like gotta tap into the bisexual pride and just draw women because women, you know. So this is just the kind of stuff that I like to draw. Lots of very bright and colorful kind of character illustrations and stuff. But yeah, I've been doing this for quite a few years now, and I still love doing it. It's still a massive passion of mine, and it just feels like a safe space. I just love being able to kind of share me being creative and just drawing silly things on the internet with my community. So yeah, that's me essentially. And I do this full time. I'm a full-time artist, and I run an Etsy business, and I sell merchandise and apparel that I like design and stuff on stream. I sell it online, and then I also go to like Comic-Cons up and down the country. So kind of tap into all that stuff as well. I've been doing that for like 10 years now. So yeah, that's me.
That's absolutely amazing. And to be honest, I found you, I think, through Twitch UK, and then I seen the artwork, and I was like, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I love the color scheme as well, because you went with the pastel colorings, and they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Gotta love the bisexual lighting. It's just my whole aesthetic.
I agree, yeah. Like, yeah, blue, purple. It's sort of like a darkish blue, but yeah, blue, purple, and like an in-betweeny color. Yeah, bi flag. And yeah, I completely agree. That's mostly my color scheme, to be honest. It wasn't even intentional. Like, because I'm bisexual, it wasn't intentional. It just works out that way. Like, it's the one colors you're drawn to, and it is the bi flag as well, so it's perfect.
Life finds a way.
It does, doesn't it? So, Ellen, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself, your channel, a bit about yourself as well? And you'll probably hear a similar accent because me and Ellen are both from the same place. I think this is the only person I've had from Northern Ireland on the podcast, so this is amazing for us.
Yeah, it's a very homely accent. Yeah, my name's Ellen. I'm Ellen from now on, pretty much everywhere on the internet. This isn't my usual streaming background. My main one is busy right now, so you're in my spare room, which is in the middle of getting furniture built, so apologies for that. And I've been streaming on Twitch since the end of 2020. Well, my background's in human rights, so I've been working internationally in human rights since about 2013, so over 10 years now. And that's my day job, even though all the stuff I do is voluntary now. So Twitch pays the bills, thankfully. And up until then, well, I got started on Twitch. I first got an audience because I have had a lovely cat, Bilbo, since 2014, and his audience has exploded on Twitter into the six figures, and a lot of those people came over to this website. And I used to do a lot more video gaming stuff, but now I'm trying to get out touching grass and doing IRL. So it is pouring with rain now, thankfully, after 2 weeks, but I've been enjoying the last 2 weeks of beautiful Irish summertime heat with the IRL backpack and showing off the finer parts of Northern Ireland. And I've cannibalized my IRL backpack to make this work today, but I'm a trans woman. I use she, her. But you might see my cat tonight. He's out at the moment with his friends. Yeah, we saw cows yesterday, giving pets and stuff on stream. I see. I've been fighting Chatterino for the past 10 minutes to get it, but I can read chat now. But IRL, news analysis on human rights stuff, and GeoGuessr sometimes even.
Hey, and also you've got a cute new little car, don't you, as well? I've seen the license plate you picked. It's so adorable.
Yeah. I do. So part of Twitch chat funded an IRL vehicle for us to travel in, and I've been obsessed with this 1989 snail-shaped van called the Nissan S-Cargo. We call it the SNAN, the snail van. So we got a fresh import and put some UWA number plates on it 2 days ago, actually. So yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. It's not fancy and it's very bouncy, but it's good fun. So that's also part of the stream as well, is the snail.
Is it actually called the S-Cargo?
Yeah, the model name is S-Space Cargo.
I love
that. It officially stands for small cargo, but if you know your French, escargot is French for snail, and it's got little snails on the wheels as well. So it's
That's fantastic. I love it.
Chat are actually linking it. Yeah, I see that. You know what? It sort of does. Yeah, like a little bit like a snail. I didn't see the back of it, but there's a little window at the back.
It's cute.
Yeah. It's a little panel band. Snan.gay if you want to see photos. SNAN.gay. Or snailvan.co.uk. But yeah, it's great. We got custom plates put on it the other day, and I was out in it earlier. I'm going to a classic car show tomorrow morning, and I'm hoping to stream it. And I needed to give it a wash because it's so dusty from 2 weeks of dryness. So I brought it for a wash by drying it in the rain, and now it looks lovely.
Oh, it looks really cute. I remember seeing it, I was like, God damn, like, I don't drive, but that would make me drive, just to drive about in that little thing. It's so cute.
It's very cute.
Thank you so much, Ellen. All right, so Smashley, would you like to introduce yourself? Definitely not for the third time.
Hi, I'm Smashley. I'm also a trans woman. My pronouns are she, her. I've been broadcasting on Twitch for 8.5 years. I've actually been partnered for 8 coming up next month, which is kind of crazy. You can find me by just Googling Smashley, which is kind of great. I stream on TikTok and Twitch and do Instagram and Twitter and all the things. And actually had a picture of me in a bikini go viral on Twitter the other day for my birthday, which honestly blew my mind. I was like, wait, what? So I was like, how does this happen? But yeah, I play lots of games. I break games. I've actually set about 8 world records in video games. I'm a voice actress, game dev, manager of the flagship, broadcaster, and programmer, I guess. That's what I do. I do lots of things. Wear many hats.
I'm not surprised that your photo blew up, to be honest, because like the amount of effort that you put into getting like absolutely like I would say just like
shredded.
Yeah, shredded. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, I've been working out for 180 something days straight now. So about
That's
3 months
impressive.
in, I suddenly had a 6-pack, which was crazy. And now I definitely have a 6-pack. It's like, wait, where did this come from? I don't know where this happened. Somebody installed it overnight.
Would you work out every day?
And installed some abs, and now I have abs.
Do you work out every day?
Every day I work out every day.
God
wow.
damn.
For 300 and coming up, I think either today is 389 or 390. I'm not sure.
Jeez.
I still have to work out today. So after this, I'm doing my workout.
Oh my god, that's dedication.
Average.
But
It's
honestly,
paid
the
off.
crazy part is I actually sprained my toe in the middle of this like whole streak, and I still worked out that day. The day I sprained my toe, I called my dad. I was like, Dad, just tell me I can do this. Just like, what are you doing? I was like, working out. He's like, why is that a big deal? It's like, well, I just sprained my toe. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm not breaking the streak. Just tell me I can do it. He's like, you can do it, kiddo. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it now. But I didn't want to break the streak. It was like on like day 180 or something.
You can't break it at that point.
Can't break it at that point. Yeah.
Not worth it.
Today will be 389. Thank you, Gakritz. Gakritz, my editor. He does the editing. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Smashley. Would you like to go ahead, Toph, and introduce yourself, your channel, your pronouns, and whatever else you would like to share with us?
Sure. My name is Toph. I do not have abs or work out 180 days in a row, but I would like to. I've actually started working out, so that's good motivation to hear you. Yeah.
You got this.
Thank you. I identify as gay and demisexual. If you don't know demisexual, it's on the asexual spectrum. I go by he, him. I do a lot of Nintendo games, indie games, life sims games, but outside of Twitch, I kind of like everything. I like shooters, I like horror. I have a Chucky shrine right here, so I really like scary things, but I also like cute things like Disney and Animal Crossing and all that good stuff. I used to live in Japan. I started streaming when I was in Japan. I also used to vlog on YouTube when I was in Japan. I lived there for 10 years, but I just came back last year. So starting a whole new life in America, which is very weird. But it's been great. And I enjoyed watching Blue and Queenie explore Japan recently. So that was nice, nostalgic, and maybe a little bit sad. Like I missed some things. So thanks for that. But
I can see why you lived there for so long. I can see why it's really nice. There's issues, of course, in every country, but like,
of course,
Japan has something a little bit different. It's very clean. I think that's the biggest thing I noticed. Very
clean and safe and very convenient.
Oh my god, yeah, and nobody bothers you. Nobody bothers you. I look very weird for Japan because of the bright colored hair and stuff. Because nobody had any dyed hair, which even in Tokyo I was very shocked at. But like, even if they look at you and they're like, "Oh God, I'm thinking it's rude," they bow. They're like, "Oh, I didn't want to be rude." So they bow. They're like, "Oh, okay," which is quite sweet. And I was like, you mentioned Chucky, by the way. I seen a life-size doll of Chucky in Nakano Broadway.
Yeah, there are a couple models out there, and I really want one, but I'm afraid that if I spend $500 on a one-to-one replica of Chucky, I'll never be in a relationship again. Like, everyone's gonna be scared when they come to my, like, "Oh, what's that on the bed?" "Oh, that's Chucky. That's his spot." So you're gonna have to, I don't know, find room on the bed or something.
I don't know. Simon's got a creepy thing, and it's a creepy statue thing that he found somewhere. Like, it's like this, and he it's in the bedroom behind the door, but I've been trying to get rid of it for years, but I've still put up with it. So, you know, even if you get one, I think somebody will like put it, like, be fine with it. The one will be fine with it. The right one will be like, oh, it's okay. It's just his thing.
True test. It'll be the true test.
Exactly. It works out.
Not a first date thing. Not a first date thing.
No.
Yeah, maybe not.
Definitely not a first date thing. To be fair, like, I'm afraid of horrors, like, but I remember watching Chucky as a kid because a babysitter put it on. I think it scarred me from all horrors since then. Like, I don't think I'm afraid of him too much, but when I seen the life-size doll, I actually seen it in Nakano Broadway. I was like, I didn't think it was a big thing still, but people absolutely adore Chucky's. It's a big, huge collectible, and I didn't realize how big it was until I seen that life-size doll. So, yeah, it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. What we're gonna do, we're gonna start going. So this is the PG podcast is very fluid on how we talk. You can talk about anything and everything. It's all good. What I will do is just have one conversation, like a question, and then we can move on to, if you want to answer it, you can do. If you don't want to, all good. And we can just, you know, take it in turns. But this one is very much a pride oriented one. So again, if you don't want to answer it, everybody's feel free to. And chat, you're welcome to answer it too. This one is specifically about coming out, but when was the moment you knew, and when was the moment that everything sort of like crystallized in your head? And I think if I say for me, I sort of realized very young that I was bisexual, and it was pretty obvious. I never actually told anybody for a very long time because the country we live in is very much, I wouldn't say anti-LGBT, I would say more of in the past 20 years ago, still doesn't know the internet exists, and anything else outside that, they're very much old-fashioned. Like, there's so many people that just don't use the internet, and it's just like crazy, so they don't know anything outside their little town and village. But when I did sort of, I think it was like 11 or 12, I realized, okay, I like women and men. It's not really a thing for me. I don't really, you know, it doesn't really bother me. I like boobs and, you know, peen, I suppose you could say, but without going and breaking too many Twitch rules on front page. But I was like, you know, it doesn't really make too much of a difference to me, like who I date. I think for me, everybody was sort of accepting of it to a certain extent. Like, nobody questioned it crazy amount. But I was so young, and I just didn't really feel like I think when I came out in Twitch was the nicest thing. Like, when I said I was bi on Twitch, my mod team knew at that point anyway. It wasn't really a thing, you know, the amount of stuff that, you know, I've said or watched, like, they already knew at that point. But I think the gaming community for me were very accepting. Instantly, they were like fine with it, you know, and they were like, yeah, I understand, you know, I get it, yeah, like, and I just think the support was quite nice as well, just being there like, yeah, we understand, yeah, no, do you know what, it all makes sense, type of thing. But I think when I sort of realized I was definitely quite young, and even back then I just didn't say anything about it. Don't fully know why. I just, you know, didn't think it was going to be accepted if I said to people in real life. But the gaming community, amazing, so supportive of it when I said it a couple of years ago. Very, 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 like, just being there type of thing. But yeah, anybody else want to share their experience on it? Smashley or yeah? Sure,
I'll go. The first moment I knew was, honestly, I can't think of a memory I have where I didn't know, honestly, for me. But I think that's more akin to being trans than being bisexual or gay, because I really feel like you almost know that earlier than anything. However, though, like I said, I think I can't remember a memory where I didn't know, but coming out, though, was a different story. I think I've come out officially like 4 different times, or maybe 5. The first few times to my parents did not go over well. Did not go over well at all. I came out to my parents, and they basically just like rejected the notion of it entirely. And then finally, when I came out in college, when I was 21, I want to say, which was about 16 years ago. I came out in college, and I like went full gay as possible as I could. I was president of the LGBT club at the college for a while, and like ran pride events and all the things. And then I left college and I kind of went stealth for a while, for a really long time, until actually just recently in March. March was, I came out like online, I guess, officially. I think a lot of people knew anyways, but like, I just never said anything. I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted the focus to be my channel, my gaming, my personality, all those things, and not me being trans. But it kind of came to a head with a whole bunch of trolls, and I was getting a whole bunch of recognition for other things, and I finally was just like, you know what, screw it, I'm coming out. It was literally a snap decision during a stream one day that and it worked out really well, I guess, because I posted the video of me coming out on stream to Twitter and it went viral. I think 500,000 people saw me crying on the internet. And I was like, oh God, why? But the thing that I guess really surprised me was the sheer amount of support that I got on the comment section. I couldn't even respond to the comments fast enough. I think all in all, there ended up being like something like 900 comments on that post. And I was just like, I can't even, like, I read through, I think, all of them. And it was really incredible. Honestly, it was really incredible. Actually, still to this day, like the same post on like TikTok still randomly has people going like, cool, awesome, can you go back to piloting now? Because I do pilot stuff in video games, and I'm just like, awesome, cool, that's what I want. So yeah, that's my coming out, I guess.
Aww. I seen that post actually, and to be honest,
Yeah,
everybody was so
did.
sweet. I was like,
No.
that's lovely. That's really nice. Everybody was like, oh, like type of thing. They were like, we knew already, but like we support you type of thing. I thought it was very nice. That was very heartwarming.
Honestly, the comment section of that post was like the most renewed faith in humanity like post I've really seen in a while. Because it was just like, I was legitimately like, it was one of those things where I came out on stream and I was like, well, I gotta let my other viewer bases know, because I have like, I'm on Twitter and on TikTok and stuff. So I was like, all right, just clip it and I'll post it on TikTok and I'll post it on Twitter. And I was honestly expecting bad. Like, I was expecting hateful comments, you know? And so I posted it and then literally went to bed. I was like, I'm done with today. I went to bed and I woke up the next day to like this insane, like Twitter was broken for me for a while. And I was just like, I don't know how to do this. So, but yeah, it was really heartwarming.
That's absolutely lovely. That's absolutely lovely. Thanks so much, Smashley, for sharing. Toph, would you like to go ahead? If you don't want to share, by all means, just say, guys. Please know.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, of course. So growing up, I guess society didn't let me as a kid just be a kid, and all that straight stereotype was like thrown on us as kids, right? With Disney. And so as a kid, I tended to gravitate towards female characters, and I just assumed that like I had crushes on them, because that's what society tells me as a boy that I have if I like a girl, right? So like Kimberly from the Power Rangers, like that was my girl. That was my girl growing up. And I thought I had a crush on her until later in life, and I was like, oh, I think I just wanted to like, I just liked how powerful she was and how in control and cool she was. I just wanted her to be a friend, you know? But I think the time in my life that I realized like, oh yeah, I'm definitely different, I guess, is I have a brother, and I have a lot of my friends growing up were straight men. And we used to have wrestling events together, and we WWF before WWE, WWF. And sometimes they would show like music videos and stuff like that when we were watching wrestling. And I remember one day specifically, Pussycat Dolls Buttons music video came on.
That video is hot. Okay.
No, it is. But like, I was sitting on a couch with my brother, two of my straight friends, and then one of their dads, and I could feel like the tension in the room of all of them being like, whoa, and I was like, oh, like I just felt different in that moment. It was like the first time I felt very different, and then I started realizing like maybe I don't have a attraction to women that way. And then in high school I started, I guess, developing slight crushes on like boys or even teachers. And then I realized like, okay, yeah, this is a thing. But I don't know about y'all, but I didn't even know what gay was growing up. Like growing up, I didn't know like anything really, like curse words, or I didn't know like gay was a thing. Like I was very sheltered in that way. So I think that's why it took me so long to realize that I was, because I didn't even know it was an option. It wasn't until high school there was one kid in my graduating class who was very openly gay, and he doesn't know this, but to this day, like he was like a big like sort of role model for me, because it was the first time I thought, or I saw someone that was living authentically, and no one in my school had a problem with it, which I thought was actually quite nice, especially in retrospect. I'm like, oh wow, that was actually really nice, because now you drive around my area, it's a lot of Trump flags and things like that. But so that was really nice. And then I came out multiple times, and I think anyone who comes out probably comes out more than once. So I came out to online friends first, because I felt that was the easiest, just to test the waters. How would they accept me? And they did. Then I came out to my cousins, who were like sisters to me, then friends, then family. Everyone at the time reacted very, very well. Unfortunately, some of them have sort of retracted that support. But at the time, everyone reacted very well, and I was able to go to college and to sort of start fresh, because I moved away. I was in a dorm. My parents weren't there. New friends. So I was able to come out of the closet. I joined the LGBTQIA+ group on campus. I made a lot of queer friends. I started
Were
coming
we
into
at
my
the same
identity.
college?
Maybe. Listening to your
Sounds
experience,
very
like, oh yeah, no,
similar.
it sounds very similar. Yeah. So like, I'm very grateful that like I was able to go to schools and have people around me who showed me the way, and also just accepted me, and allowed me to come into my own in a very natural way. I didn't feel at any point in my life that I was pushed out. And I know that that's not the case for everyone. And I know coming out is a different experience for everyone. And I should say this, because I always feel like I should say this when I talk about coming out. Like, you don't have to ever feel pressured to come out. Like, always come out at your pace. Don't let anyone make you feel like you have to. Some people never come out. It's not anyone else's business. If you want to, go ahead, but do it at your own pace. But yeah, and then also, I guess for my demisexual identity, I sort of always knew in some way that the way that I experienced sexual attraction was, again, different, I guess. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago, I think it was 3-4 years ago, that I put a name to it, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, that's what I am. So now it's kind of nice. And I always say, identity and discovering your identity, it's such a process, and it's always ongoing and sometimes ever changing. So it's nice to learn more about yourself and be open to, you know, learning a bit more about yourself. And you don't have to use labels. I do, because it feels right for me, but you don't have to use labels if you don't want to. But yeah, that's my coming out experience.
That's right. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, do you know what? I wanted to ask you specifically about being LGBTQ in IA plus in Japan. Did you find it any different, easier, worse, non-existent, doesn't speak about? Because I have heard mixed stories about people saying it's just completely different, it's non-existent, speaking about it type of thing. Right.
Well, I will say foreigners get away with a lot in Japan. They judge you based on being a foreigner before anything else. Okay. So when I came out at work, it'd always be like, "Oh, you're gay? Oh, well, you're American, so it's okay." You know, like, "Oh, you're a foreigner, like you're different," and like they have this image of like, "Oh, Americans and foreigners, like we're more free and like we're more open." So like they're just like, "Yeah, that's really cool. Like you're the first gay person I've ever met." I'm like, "That's what you think," but like, so in that way, as a foreigner, it is easier, and also like there's not a lot of hate crime in Japan towards queer people. There is, but not as much as compared to America. So I feel like in Japan, people might have opinions, but they're going to keep it to themselves. They're not going to aggressively or verbally, physically attack you for it. But I think as far as like laws and things like that, there is a long way to go in Japan. I know that in recent years, Shibuya passed some sort of city ward specific laws and protections that allow same-sex couples to like rent, because it was for a while, and in most places in Japan it's legal to deny people an apartment or living spaces. If they are same-sex couples, they can get denied from seeing each other in the hospital. And also, it's still legal in Japan to get fired from your job purely on the basis of your sexual orientation or gender identity. There's no, like, there aren't like laws protecting that. And like same-sex marriage is still not legalized. So Japan is, I think, especially the Tokyo area, is becoming better, and they're trying to work on the local government first, and then try to work from there. There's a Pride Parade in Tokyo every year. It's in May, not June. So going there is really awesome, seeing all the different organizations and sponsors. Like, clearly there are people who know and are supportive, but it just feels like Japan has this very famous proverb, the nail that sticks out gets hammered in. So like, you just don't want to be different in Japan in any way. And of course, being queer is different, right? So yeah, I think in some ways it's good and safe, and in some ways they've still got a ways to go. But no country is perfect, you know? And they're trying, they're making progress. I think that's great. So
yeah, they're making strides. They're getting there, just a bit slow.
Right.
We're getting there. Trista, would you like to go ahead as well, if you feel comfortable with, of course?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, my stories, I don't know if I actually ever told this story on stream before, so this is probably a first, but I never sort of came out. So I haven't
congrats
really
on coming out now.
through that process. This is how people know. No one noticed before. Yeah, they just thought I had some really good roommates.
And they were roommates.
They were just good friends. Although I have actually had that from a girlfriend I had, and their parents would just relentlessly be like, "You two are good friends," and my partner would be like, "Girlfriends," and they would be like, "Friends." We'd just be there like, you get what's going on here, and they were just like, "She just hasn't chosen a side yet. She'll grow out of it." And I'm like, "I'm right here, man." Like, how many years does it take for that to like? But they were never particularly horrible about it. It was just kind of like they had a filter on everything you said, where they would just remove certain things and parrot back this edited version in the most non-malicious way I've ever had that experience. They were just like, "No, you're just friends," and I'm like, "What are your friendships like? Because this is not how I treat all my friends." But I never officially had any kind of like coming out to the family type, those big things that you always sort of nowadays see on television, like there's this big event, you know, and it's almost like like there'll be like big flags behind you, and you'd be like, "I need to speak to you about something," and suddenly like pride flags and rainbows and confetti and glitter appear.
Your hair's blowing in the wind, and you're like,
yeah, just like you sort of rip off like a normal top, and there's just like a complete rainbow unicorn onesie underneath.
spotlight.
So I never really had that experience, and that was partly because when I was young, I grew up in the early 80s, and I didn't know any of these words. I didn't know any of these things. There was no representation on television at all. I'm not just talking about like children's, level of things. We're talking about anything. Like it didn't exist. So I'd never seen anything. So, and it sounds, I don't know how to say it, and it sounds funny rather than sound like really, really miserable. But in like a way where I wasn't miserable about it. I just thought I would spend the whole of my life alone when I was a kid.
Oh my god, same, yeah.
So, and it sounds so miserable to say it, but I really took it in a super matter-of-fact way as a child, because I knew, like, I had a crush on this beautiful blonde Australian teacher that was like just there for like half a year or so, and she was beautiful and she was lovely, and I remember just thinking like, oh my god, when I grow up, like, if only that was an option. Oh well. And she got engaged, and I remember seeing her in the playground, and she had a new necklace on, because I always noticed things about her because I liked her a lot. And she had this beautiful necklace that had mother of pearl on it, and I was like, this necklace is new. And she was like, oh well, me and my partner don't like rings, so I'm now engaged, I'm marrying, name of some dude. And I remember being like, oh, that's beautiful, that's lovely, because you can wear that forever and you won't lose it like a ring. And in my brain I was like, oh well, I couldn't have married her anyway because I'm a child, so I guess I'll just spend the rest of my life alone.
Yep. There is that. Yeah.
And I look back at it now and I'm like, that's so sad. But at the time I was just like, never mind.
The one that got away.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked out anyway because like I'm literally in primary school. So I just was like, oh well, I guess I'll just spend the rest of my life alone because there was no word for me and I didn't know what I was. So I was just like, okay, oh, never mind. And then a bit later, then they started talking about, you know, you get a bit more sort of sex education and stuff. And I learned like the legal age for this is 16. And I was like, huh, okay, so when you get to 16, you suddenly start liking boys. That's how it works. They've got to do it. So I just waited until I became a teenager and then was like, this doesn't seem to be this doesn't seem to be quite working. And then I was
Any
like,
minute now.
yeah, I was just like, well, okay. And then people said, oh, some people are late bloomers, and I was like, well, I guess I'll just wait until I'm older then.
Some people are very late
At some
bloomers.
point I'll start liking
That's
people.
true, yeah.
Because I took these things like the best information I had, and I didn't really think to question it or to ask anyone, which is a shame because like my mum's awesome. If I'd gone to my mum and been like, hey mum, I fancy girls, she would have just been like, cool. So I had this support network, but I didn't know that there was a thing to support because I just thought I was probably the only person on the planet, and this is why representation is good because I literally thought I am the only person on the planet like this. Therefore, I should probably keep my mouth shut.
I think we all felt that at some point, probably.
Yeah.
It was quite a revelation
until
to find
you
out
see
it wasn't
somebody.
just me. And the first thing I ever saw, which was, oh, this isn't just me, was actually an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where Jadzia Dax, who I fancied immensely, kisses another lady from True, and it doesn't work out, but she kissed her on the screen, and I was just like, wait, what?
You could do that?
That's a thing.
Since
Hold
when
on a
has this been a
second.
thing?
Is this a glitch?
I didn't get
Am I
the
just
memo.
not supposed to
I've
keep
recently
waiting?
gotten into Star Trek, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, so that was my first ever like seeing of somebody else that was like liked girls, and I was just like, wait, how long's this been going on? When was someone going to tell me about this? So yeah, that was really sweet, and I'm glad that my love of sci-fi meant that I actually learned that was a thing, and I learned what the word for that thing was from all the complaints letters that got sent to the BBC and then appeared on one of those I can't remember which TV show, one of the Points of View shows, and there were complaints because there was a lesbian kiss, and I was like, ooh, that's the word. So yeah, if people hadn't complained vehemently, I wouldn't have learned the word, so that was good. And as I got a bit older, I still didn't really know if this was like an okay thing or not, and I was like, but it's just kind of a thing. And then I was like, I also, if there's some really, really, really pretty like mask people, like some dudes, but they're really, really pretty, then that's kind of okay. And then people were like, okay, so you're bi, and I was like, well, I don't know, that doesn't really sound right either entirely. And then that evolved for some time until eventually the word pansexual kind of in my sphere of knowledge kind of came into being. It definitely wasn't a word when I was younger, because I was trying to invent my own words before that point, because I was like, okay, so I do like some people who aren't girl, and it just took until my late teens to kick in, you know. And I was like, so occasionally these people, and they were like, so that's like bi, and I'm like, I don't think so, because I don't like any of the people you like. So this still doesn't seem to be the thing. And at one point I was just like, but they have to be pretty, so I thought I would call it pretty sexual.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it. That's good.
And I was like, that's really funny. It also turned out to be really ironic because I'm on the asexual spectrum. But the word for demisexual and asexual, again, I didn't know these words.
Right, yeah, same.
And there's points now where I look back at things, and one of the things with the sort of the ace part of the spectrum and the demisexual part of the spectrum is I didn't know those words, and I didn't have any visual clue that things there were different, i.e. that I was thinking about two birds, they were straight couples, I can see what's different there. When it came to the sort of demisexual ace type stuff, Like I can think back now, and there's occasionally been times I've been a rubbish friend to people because I could not comprehend at all how anyone could sleep with someone they didn't know very well, and definitely
Same.
not sleep with someone they didn't like. So occasionally, if a friend would like be like, "Oh no, I got drunk and I slept with my ex," and I'm like, "But you don't like them. How did that work? How did you do that?" And I'd just be like, "This is ridiculous. I don't understand." And no one ever picked up on that or explained that. So that took many more years. Now I look back and I go, "Oh, so you still fancy them even if they're not nice? That must suck." And that was kind of a much later understanding. Because again, I didn't know any of the words, and I grew up very much just sort of like blindfolded in a dark cave with my hands tied behind my. It's starting kinky now. It's not. Sort of, speaking of understanding of stuff. I really just had no clue. But luckily, I have a wonderful mother who just didn't care either way. Just as long as you're nice and they're happy was eventually what the answer I got was. Just didn't care. And by the time I was actually more openly dating and things, which was a little bit later in my life than I think it's a standard age, I'm assuming, by that point it had become more kind of accepted. I grew up in London. It's a very like open kind of city. So I mean, I still got people yelling at me in the street and stuff like that and all the standard stuff, but it wasn't everyone. It would, it felt more like, these are just some nasty loud people, rather than me feeling like I'm the only person in the world and should shut up. It sort of came to the point where I was just like, and then I sort of learned about people coming out and these big things like, like reverse interventions coming out, isn't it? It's one person getting everyone there and telling them the thing. And it was sort of too late by that point, so I didn't bother. So yeah, a weird kind of route, I think.
Makes total sense. I mean, like, so from your point of view, you didn't really know it existed for a long time, essentially. That's...
Yeah, I was a teenager.
Yeah, because the words weren't used. You weren't educated about them either. Like, it is an interesting perspective. So, like, you were just sort of waiting until, like, you realized, okay, these words exist. This is what happened. It's an interesting way to be, actually, and not realize. I mean, for me, I heard the term lesbian because I got called it quite a lot of times because I was not interested in like boys. Not really. I was more interested in like watching anime and playing games and playing PC games with my friends and stuff. And then like, and I just didn't want to go near anybody type of thing. I was like, I don't really want to go near any of you guys. And because you're just all gross mostly. And like the women were just a bit too like, okay, you have to like boys, you have to talk about boys type of thing. And I just didn't want to. And I'm like, obviously I'm bi myself, but even growing up, I don't think I heard any other words other than somebody calling somebody in a mean way, in a mean tone, a lesbian or gay or something like that, and they always meant it in a horrible way and not a nice way. But yeah, so it's a good point. The words weren't really used, so yeah, there's probably a lot of people who didn't know back then and came out really late because the words were never used or spoke about. Not in a nice term either. That's a really good way to think about it as well. Wonder how many.
Isn't it weird though that despite not knowing the terms, we all kind of knew without being indoctrinated? Isn't that weird how that works out that way?
Yeah. Isn't it weird how it made no difference apart from to just mean I was alone for a very long time?
Exactly, yeah. I completely agree with you. Chao, would you like to go ahead if you feel comfortable?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, if you can't tell from my lighting behind me, I do identify as bisexual. I actually had, I mean, a few of us have already said this in the chat, but I had a few coming out situations like over the last few years, actually. I was actually a bit of a late bloomer. I mean, I'm 29 at the moment, and it was around 26, 27 where things finally started clicking for me. But yeah, I mean, I'm in a cis het passing relationship, and you know, I'm very happy, and you know, I'm engaged, and I think knowing that I was in a happy relationship, I think it kind of delayed that kind of progression of just like figuring out who I was. So I had the figuring out who I was a little bit later. But you know, I grew up with a gay brother, so it was kind of the big shock of having anyone in the family that was LGBT had kind of already happened when, you know, that was 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. But I'm very lucky in a sense that I have a very accepting family, and everyone apparently knew before me, and it's funny how that kind of works out, because yeah, like I've been doing art as, you know, my passion, and now luckily I do it as a full-time job for you know, many years. I've been doing it full-time actually as a job for like 3-4 years now, but I've always drawn women primarily. And somehow that didn't click with me. I don't know how. And you know, as the years kind of went on, I was like, oh, draw them a little bit more, you know, curvier, and you know, show a little bit more off. Oh, that looks a bit nice, you know, and just kind of like, I think that was also part of my you know, discovery journey through my art, and I didn't even realize. Yeah, so like all of my friends didn't know that I hadn't come out when I did come out. They were just like, oh, you're bi, and I was like, wait, what? And they were like, yeah, we've known for years. And I'm like, what do you mean you've known for years? You know, it just took a long time to kind of click with me. And yeah, I was just the last person to know, apparently. I didn't get the memo. So yeah, so I kind of had 3 coming outs. You know, after just figuring out who I was over the last few years, you know, came out to like my partner, and then I came out to like my close friends circle, and then so that was back in 2021, I think. And then last year I kind of did the big coming out publicly. So I kind of, you know, had a year of just with my close friends being bi and just living my life and vibing. And yeah, then I came out publicly, told my family, and I was very lucky that, you know, they were just like, yeah, cool, you know, live your life. So I've got a very supportive mum and 2 brothers, and yeah, they're just like, yeah, you know, we kind of had an inkling. Again, you know, just I feel like I was just the last person to know. And I feel like when I was growing up, I always did feel different, but again, like what everyone's been saying, I just couldn't really put my finger on it. And I always had this sense of, you know, I'd be looking at girls, you know, in whatever situations, and I always thought, for me at least, and this might click with other people in chat as well, which is why I like sharing it, but I thought I wanted to be them. I was like, oh, they're so pretty, I want to be like that. And there was that slight disconnect. I mean, there's still that can happen, but then it, you know, as time progressed, I was like, oh wait, no, I do. No, I fancy them. Okay, no, they're pretty. They're not pretty because I like, you know, their aesthetic. Yes, that too, but also, oh no, they're pretty because I like girls. And it was really nice to kind of come to terms with that. And since coming out, I just feel so much more myself, and just so kind of openly, you know, just me. And I have loved seeing you know, chat share their stories as well. It's been really nice seeing everybody's coming out stories. And of course, remember, you don't have to. If you're not in a position to be able to, don't ever put yourself in danger or anything like that. And of course, you don't need to label yourself if it's not for you either. I feel comfortable with you know, being labeled as bisexual, because, you know, that's me, that's my whole identity now, and I'm just, you know, living my life full force. And I'm part of the Twitch UK you know, Together for Pride for the first time this year as well, which is really, really nice. And I was very lucky with my community as well. I mean, I wasn't lucky. They're amazing anyway, but my community is also, you know, they've made me feel so welcome when I came out on stream as well. And I have a very, you know, LGBTQ inclusive little gay bubble of a community, and I love them very, very much. And I feel very blessed to have such a great community to be able to like express myself that way, and know that, you know, I'm in a good place for that, knowing that they'll accept me for who I am. So I'm just living my life now, and living my life in my bisexual lighting.
There actually is a question I want to quickly ask you is did you find, right, so this is something that it's always directed at bisexuals in general, but there is an issue. It's always been in the LGBT community a little bit, but the term used as greedy as such. Have you ever heard that?
Mhm.
I
hear
have,
that
yeah.
so much, and it's like, it's not the term greedy. It's that it's more of the fact that you like both sides. You like the masculine side, the femme side. Like, it's not a case of like, okay, you're greedy as such. It's that you are attracted to those energies, both of them. Again, it's nothing to do with just being greedy about it, but you're like attracted to both those sides. So yeah, a lot of people do think that term, and they do put it out there. But I've also found the other thing, because I've been by I've had this a few times from the LGBT community. Not often. They've mostly been 99% are lovely, but there's 1% who don't like bi people. I don't know if you find it as well, but they don't like bi. They think that it's either fake or something like that, or it's like, you know. And I'm just like, do you want to have a picture of me with one of my ex-girlfriends, or what do you need exactly as proof, or do you want a video? Like, what is it exactly you want? But you know, I find that a couple of times, and I've always thought it was a bit dismissive type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, bi erasure is a bit of an issue, and that's why I also don't mind kind of sharing my story, because I know who I am. I don't care if other people don't believe me, because that's their own issue, you know. Like, I know that I'm living my life authentically. And again, just another thing for chat that people might relate to. As I said, I'm in a straight passing relationship, and it's very important to know that I am bi, even though I am in a cishet, you know, straight passing relationship. It doesn't make me any less bi, and it's a very important thing to remember. You know, it's important to have that representation out there, to, you know, have other people that can connect to that. It's like, hey, I still like girls, even though I'm going to be marrying a man. We just get to look at girls on the internet and just high five and be like, she's quite pretty, isn't she? You know, like, it's great. We just get to share that now. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Ellen, would you like to go ahead, if you feel comfortable, of course?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also grew up in Northern Ireland, same as Queenie, and there's a very particular type of. I mean, we have a Bible Belt here.
Yeah.
Like you go far enough out, and every like telephone pole has like a Jesus Saves on it. So I mean, there's parts of this place that have historically not been great for coming out in, but I kind of like especially I can't really remember a time when I didn't have like an inkling. I think that it's a very common trans thing, and it's not unanimous, but it is very common. But like when you're a child, like how you like internalize that, you don't really have words for it. It's more of a vibe, if anything. It feels natural. And I found a lot of people just sort of assume that that's how a ton of other people feel. Like that's just like how everybody feels. And it turns out that's not the case. I went to a Catholic secondary school, or like high school for the Americans. And it was very much like there was one person who was out in my year. And I finished school in 2011. I just turned 30. And when that one person came out as gay, the vice principal came in during our religion class and took him out of class and had a word with him. And that very much set the tone of like what was okay, what was acceptable. And by that point, like gay was and queer and stuff were used, and a lot of other words were used a lot on like in the playground and in school corridors and everything. And I got quite a bit of that. I'm not going to lie. I think everybody knew, but me, kind of like some other people here have said. I came out to like the people in my life when I was 19 in 2013. And pretty much it's been out publicly since then. Like I work in the field of LGBT rights, so it's kind of hard not to be. But in terms of like having a moment when you realize, I think it's just, I know for a lot of trans people, it's just a process of growing up, and just like everybody else learns more and more about themselves as they like develop into adolescence and stuff. It's kind of similar, where you have more words the longer you go. But I hid stuff for a very long time because, I mean, Northern Ireland, for context, we're sort of famous as this sort of conservative backwater, and we were in international fame for a gay cake palava. We were like the biggest political party up until like 7 years ago, wanted to recriminalize homosexuality. It's one of those places, you know. So I hid stuff until I was an adult. I was very lucky. My family were and still are fantastic. My friends have been great as well. But there's a shift at the moment in the UK, less so in Ireland, both north and south, but there's a shift in the UK at the moment towards more of a backlash against a lot of LGBT stuff, which a lot of people are worried about. Like I still work with a ton of queer people every day, and it feels weird to see a lot of the stuff that we grew up with sort of raise its head in England, in Scotland especially. But yeah, I don't think I think a lot of trans people don't have that one moment. Some people do. Some have the penny drop, but apparently neither Smashley nor I are one of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Northern Ireland is known. It's like the best way to describe it for everybody to understand the way Northern Ireland is. It is like it's either England 30 years ago, 20 to 30 years ago, because it is very far behind. Again, I do believe this is internet based because a lot of people don't have computers like over here. But the other way to describe it is very much like what half of Texas is, where they're very much yay Bible type of stuff, and they quote these things and they don't understand what any of it means, and they write it on rocks and stuff randomly. There's a lovely rock where we live, it's a big huge rock near the beach, and it's lovely. They wrote praise Jesus on it, and I'm like, that was a lovely rock, guys. You've just ruined it by spray paint. That's graffiti, guys. It doesn't matter what way you look at it, that's graffiti. All right, even if you put Jesus on it, it doesn't make it better.
I think the best thing to sum it up growing up here was, remember a lot of years ago, a government minister was trying to have a creationist version of history installed at the Giant's Causeway.
Oh my God, yes, I do.
Was it the Giant's Causeway? Something like that.
It was near National Trust area.
Minister. It was awesome. It was just it's just every type of wild politics here. But I mean that keeps a lot of people in the closet, and it keeps a lot of people from coming out. It's changed a lot now. I've heard from a ton of people who've left school in recent years, and they had a totally different experience. And there's gay, bi, trans people in every year out and Pride. This is a very it's not even like it's a very unanimous place, because nobody agrees on anything in Northern Ireland, but it's a very homogenous place.
Yeah, I agree.
It's only quite recently that we've been opening up to the world as well.
I think that also Game of Thrones, I know it sounds really sad, but because people are coming over tourism wise, people are experiencing more and different cultures. They're meeting, USA people. There's a lot of Norwegians that come over here, and that shocks a lot of people because they are giants compared to us. Like we are like 5'3", or something.
The Dark Hedges has been turning people gay. This has been reported in the newsletter.
Oh, definitely. Some of those scenes, I'm not gonna lie, makes total sense. Makes total sense. I understand why. So Game of Thrones, definitely. I love it. I'm a fan of it myself. Not the last season, before anybody judges me, but the rest of it was great. So
Something in the water up here.
all right.
I must have got some of that water too.
We're shipping it over. It's our new
Yeah,
export.
is that how it happened? Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, water's free over here, so we're just bottling it up and selling it.
It is.
Apparently,
It's really good.
it
Come
is
to
actually.
Northern Ireland.
It's not bad
Actually,
for free water.
This is totally unconnected, but up until very recently, if you flew into the capital city of Northern Ireland, Belfast, into the city airport, the first thing you would see was a big banner as you get off the plane, and it would say "Welcome to Northern Ireland," and there was a big hexagon. Everything's here is hexagons. There's a big hexagon, a big purple, and it just says "We breed" on it, and it's about farming. But this was like a friend of mine's first introduction to this place. And then a dismal drive from the airport into the city. There's just a big purple hexagon with "We breed." It's a very weird place. It's a very weird
That
place.
sounds terrifying and amazing at the same time.
I've flown in
That
so many
sounds
times.
like
I've never
it went
noticed
through
it.
no focus groups. Nobody mocked that up in Photoshop and showed it to anyone. They were just like, "Now, what could possibly be
Not a
misconstrued
single
about this?"
homosexual was consulted on that. No.
No one. I don't think that's just. Yeah, no, that's just no one was consulted. Not even the cattle in the fields. You know.
I've regularly been the token homosexual on the Northern Ireland government panels for this sort of thing, and I can confirm I have no emails about "We breed."
Amazing.
Oh, dear. Definitely for sure. Though to be fair, with our history, with Ireland's and Northern Ireland's history, it's they're not technically wrong with that statement. Just maybe not in current climate. So well done, the Northern Ireland. All right, thank you so much for sharing. By the way, Ellen, I'm going to move on to the next one because this happens every podcast. I just have the questions and they're just like a thing we can go on or we can speak about or not. But this one's already touched on. Maybe I won't go into that one too much. We'll try and put these out together then. So how do you feel as an LGBTQ creator compared to when you started years ago? So some of us are newer, some of us have been around for a long time on Twitch. How do you feel, and do you think gaming is good for the LGBTQ community as a whole? So if anybody would like to answer that. Actually, do you want to, Trista, would you like to go ahead? Is that your topic?
Yeah, I found like Twitch to be pretty welcoming, thanks partly to like some epic mods, including the ones that are currently fighting the good fight in chat at the moment.
Yeah.
And it is very much, I find,
We love you, mods.
Pet the mods.
gaming is very much like pockets. It's like social media. There's these pockets, so when you go outside of that group of people, it's like putting your head outside of a really well soundproofed building near a motorway. You know, you're like, this is lovely, this is nice, and you open a window and you just hear all this traffic and you go, nope. So it is, I think it's quite mixed. If you find yourself in the wrong space, then it can be a hugely different experience. And it's been quite interesting for me as someone who's never got around to actually coming out, which included to my own chat. I just like I have one of my bit cheers is one for the number 69, and so I decided that had to be funny, and I was just like, I'm just gonna put gifs of everyone I fancy in there, and if anyone has a problem with it, I'll find out. And nobody cared. Most people were just really nice about it, and it just turned out that like often attracts like, and a bunch of times when I have sort of just thrown stuff into conversation and mentioned things, it's turned out that a lot of people who are interacting with my community and the adjacent communities around, obviously, I know a lot of the people that are in your streams as well, Ro, and like they've all been pretty welcoming, and no one's really massively questioned it. I know that if I open that window to that big motorway, it may be quite different, but the sort of pockets of people I've been involved with have been really, really nice. And I've quite liked the fact that it, like, I know coming out can be a wonderful, beautiful and supportive thing, like, especially as Smashley was saying, but I've liked the fact that it hasn't really been so much of a big deal for me. So because I think I'd be quite nervous to do that. I think it takes tons of bravery to do that. So I rather just put loads of Elijah Dushku gifs in my bitches and just like, if they don't like it, they can just leave. And that seems to have worked quite well for me so far. So yeah, I found it to be pretty good, and I've definitely got more kind of confident in not just saying like, oh, so I had a partner once, and now actually saying like, no, it was a girlfriend, you know, like I'm not using a lot more neutral language like I used to. And I finally got brave enough to start using like an LGBTQ plus like tag on the streams as well, which I never used to do because I was too afraid of like attracting the, you know, the negative voices that way. But now I'm like much more feeling able that I can like add that tag, and that people do have my back, and the people around are nice enough that they are gonna be there to just be like, no, ban that person, no one's gonna chime in and agree with them. So it's been really positive. I've been really like surprised and happy.
That's good. And I think that what you'll notice with the tag is that you'll have some wonderful people coming in, but then you'll also have some people trolling it every so often. But mods are the savior. Mods save that. All right, they're sort of everything. Also, Ellen's cat has seemed to take off Ellen's camera.
Apparently it has,
oh, there you go.
Apparently it's overheating.
Oh, welcome back.
Apparently it's overheating.
Yeah, I think I've also every time someone came in and did troll, I just banned the words, and I have like a little one of those little animated cats that waves when a new person comes into chat, and sometimes it will wave 5 or 6 times before the troll message gets through, and I'm like, that's just taking you way more effort. And sometimes they give up before they can be bothered now because just every message is just like not posting. So I think that helps as well. I'm like, yeah, I don't need any of these words ever. There's no context where these words are necessary. So I just went through and was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna have rule with that kind of like iron grasp on the dialogue, because I want everyone to feel free to be themselves, and that seems to have been okay.
Oh, so I'd love to answer this question.
Go ahead, Smashley. Go ahead.
So I honestly, like I said, I was really surprised when I came out with how much positivity. As a matter of fact, like half of this chat right now is my chat with my stupid emotes spamming and my mods and everything. Like, you guys are amazing, and I love you guys. But I think the big thing for me, and kind of hitting on what Trista said, is that I kind of like the reason why I even came out again recently in March was because at the time I was getting bombarded with trolls, and like previously over my 8-year like career on Twitch, I just kind of banned anybody who would be like, hey, are you trans? Or are you a dude? Like, nice Adam's apple, bro, or like anything like that. I would just ban it. I didn't want to like deal with the haters. I didn't want to deal with the nonsense, and honestly, I didn't want to like deal with the LGBT aspect of all that. I just wanted to play games, you know. But it kind of came to a head like that night, and it really upset me when like there was a whole bunch of trolls that night that like came in and were saying similar things, and just really got to me. And I think the thing that really like resonated with me was like they were taking away my joy by something that honestly should not have been ammunition for them. And so ever since like coming out again and like publicly, is they no longer have that ammunition anymore. They no longer have that like that tool to use against me. And so now if somebody comes into my chat and is like, hey, are you trans? I'm just like, yeah, dude, cool. You can stick around if you want. and that's it. And so now it's one of those things where like, one, my mods don't have to work so hard anymore. They don't have to ban as many people, which is great. But it's also they no longer have that sort of tool to use against me to ruin my day. So screw them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Goddamn right. Would anybody else like to answer it? Again, feel free not to.
Sure.
Go ahead, Toph.
So I think it's kind of a mixed bag. I think it resonates with me that we do get a lot of support on Twitch. I think I like to think that the LGBTQIA plus community and also like the gaming community are very similar, because when we were younger, I feel like gamers and nerds, like they were outcast too. And I think there's a lot of like overlap there. When I was a kid, I was friends with nerds. Like I was like playing Yu-Gi-Oh in the cafeteria. Like that's who I was. So like those people protected me. And I feel like there is overlap there. So I find that on Twitch there is a lot of support, and there are a lot of people. There's a lot of queer people on Twitch too, just in general. But also
Where?
But you know, there's also a lot of allies too, which like I'm very grateful for. So thank you to everyone who just supports us. Though I will say, as a gay man, and also as a gay man who is not super masculine, I do tend to get a like pretty frequent like hate. I do think that for some people out there, it's not just about being gay or being queer. It's about being like what they consider the worst type of queer. So I'm sure if I was like a very mass presenting gay man and it wasn't obvious, I don't think I would get as much. But because they see me as like sort of femme and like I play indie games and Nintendo stuff, so I come off as like very sweet. But you know what? I'm a gay Latino Sagittarius from New York. Like, you cannot mess with me. And they learn that very quickly. And they learn that very quickly, okay? So if someone comes in and says, like, gay, yeah, I am. And if you're interested, my DMs are open. Send me your credit card score. Send me a picture of what you look like, and then we'll talk later. But, like, now is the time to play Animal Crossing. But, so I think we grow a thick skin. Should we have to grow a thick skin? No. But that's kind of our lot in life, as being part of this community, for better or for worse. And I think that maybe, and this is, I guess, me talking to anyone who is queer and wants to be a streamer, is, you know, it might be a little hard or a little difficult to navigate in the beginning, but once you find your community, once you have a good mod team, once you like just learn to kind of get that thick skin or learn how to better handle yourself in those situations, I think it'll be fine. But don't ever let like the fear of trolls or hate or whatever stop you from doing something that you love, whether it be streaming or anything else.
And I do want to say something though. I love your tweets with your clips of trolling them. Like they are.
I have a lot of reactions.
I love them. They're freaking great. I sit there and I'm like, he's freaking got that one. That one's definitely not going to do that again. And I have not the same exact policy, because I, again, being Irish, I can't hold back. If somebody comes in and they're being mean in my chat, I just rip the shit out of them for around about 20 minutes to see what happens. Hopefully they never do it to anybody else. And I just literally rip into them. Or we had one guy come in and he'd be like, I think you're, beautiful and stuff like that. I was like, oh, thanks, dude. I got a partner, but I'll set you up on my mods now. No problem. I start making a dating profile for him and stuff. And then they just start panicking. They're like, oh, no. I'm like, no. You're going to be set up. Don't worry about it, dude. I will sort you out.
That's not what I wanted.
Yeah, it's just honestly, it's the funniest thing. Or they'll say, like, they'll come in and be like, are you, trans or gay or something like that? And I'll be like, no, but don't worry about it. I will set you up, dude. If you're looking to date, this is the right place for it. And they back down pretty freaking quickly. So I'm still looking to set up another troll. So if there's one in there and you need to have
something to be said. There is something to be said for playing with your food.
Yeah. I started killing them with kindness, honestly. I think one of my viewers was talking about how I like I said, I stream on TikTok, and I think I get the most hate through there because it's a non-gaming, non-Twitch community.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times people are just swiping through and they come across your stream and they're just like, oh, what is this? Right. And then occasionally you'll get people who decide for whatever reason that they need to comment. And that's usually when I just like to remind them like, hey, yeah, I am. And if you don't like it, you can literally just as easily swipe to the next video. Like, that's it. That's all you have to do. If you don't like it, just go on.
It's more effort to leave a comment. You are literally spending more time leaving hateful comments. Yeah. You could just move on with your life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's another good point, is that if they're coming into your chat to waste time to type that, it says more on that person. Like they've got nothing better to do in their life, and that's sad. That is actually quite sad. So it
makes me pity them, because I'm like, clearly you got a lot of problems going on to come to some random person on the internet and spew hate. Like usually I'd be like, dude, are you okay? Like, do you need help? Because then they're like, no, like they kind of, you know, back away. But it's like,
they really do. I do that one.
Yeah.
Right. I do think that there are. Oh, sorry. No, go on.
I was just gonna say, I wonder where they get the time. As somebody with 5 jobs, like, how do you have this time?
Oh, exactly.
Where do you find this time to comment?
Cannot be bothered with that. It's too much energy. It like
So
people
much
that
energy.
leave hateful comments and like are just, you know, trolling online anyway. Like, how do people have the energy to do that? Like, I just want to go and have a nap. You know, like I just want to play games and go to sleep. And you're just spending time doing this. You know, whatever floats your boat. But I just wanted to say, going back to the original question about like gaming being good for the LGBTQ community, I think it's really important to say that like it's probably quite an escape for a lot of us as well, especially in the early days where, you know, hey, if we want to play as, you know, the opposite gendered character, like it kind of just lets you be someone that's not you, and it's just a completely different world to escape in, and it's also just somewhere that makes you feel safe as well. Like I had a bunch of games like growing up, like I, you know, played all the Pokemon games. I spent hundreds of hours in all the Pokemon games. You know, I love Animal Crossing. The amount of hours in those games, I don't even want to look at the hours spent. But it's just a safe space for a lot of us that might not feel safe outside of that in our, you know, IRL lives. So I genuinely do feel like games are very important to this community for sure. That was it.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think also more and more games are becoming the fact that you can pick your character. It's not and this is the best thing I've seen, and this is what I love the most, is that when games put it as you've got 2 types of bodies. It's not male or female, it's 2 types of bodies just sitting there, and you're like, perfect, that's the way it should be. Just say, do you want this type of body, do you want that type of body, what is your preference? Or even like being able to sculpt it or shape it. Again, that's quite rare on most games, but the fact that they can just do, okay,
you can do it in real life too.
Yeah.
With dedication that many of us are lacking. But yes.
You can do it in real life too.
Listen, I'm trying to go 3 days a week, Smashley, but I don't know if I can do every day.
You can. Honestly, it makes it easier in a huge way, because it's just part of my day now. It's just like a 30-minute part of my day now.
Try Ring Fit. That is insanely hard.
I believe it.
I swear. It's hard.
There's an obvious joke here. The obvious joke is, of course, that transitioning is the ultimate character creation process.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's fantastic. So we've actually answered all my questions essentially into one. But Twitch chat, you're welcome to ask a question if you want to, and if the creator sees it, they're welcome to answer it. Okay, so what advice would you give and Toph already touched on this, but what advice would you give an LGBTQIA creator coming into this space? Mine would be, it wouldn't be as exactly thick-skinned, but just remember that, you know, obviously everybody's dealing with different things and stuff like that. Don't take anything harshly. There's nothing you can do about other people. That's just how they are. You know, and don't try and set out to change these people or change the world. Just keep yourself happy, and you know, because again, there's the internet. There's so many different cultures and stuff like that around the world, and you can only do so much. So just that would be my advice. Is like, you know, do what you can, but don't go out of your way. Don't stress about them, because nothing you can do about them really. It's the internet, so wouldn't worry too much. Anybody else would like to jump in? You're welcome to.
My recommendation.
Oh, you can go.
No, you're going.
I don't know if I'm pointing the right way either, because I don't know if our pictures are pointing.
I don't know where we're pointing here, but
we're the Brady Bunch. We're the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, down there. There you go.
We needed a comedy item to like pass between each window. Okay, I will go because otherwise we're just going to be like the British thing of like after you.
No,
Cute.
no.
Maybe 5 minutes. I think one of the pieces of advice I give generally, not just about being part of this community, but also for people who are looking into things like their neurotype, disabilities, anything like that, is to never feel like you have to be a spokesperson. There always feels to be a lot of pressure on people that you have to be automatically doing this additional job on top of the job you're doing of being a spokesperson for everybody like you. And I've had people say to me that, oh, they don't want to either come out or go get a diagnosis for being neurodiverse because they're going to have to suddenly tell everyone. And I'm like, you don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to tell anyone anything. It's irrelevant, like if you just want to do your job and you don't want to tell anyone, don't tell anyone. Like, just literally surviving is in some ways representation.
Right. Yeah.
Because as we've discovered, and people already know even before you do apparently, so like don't feel like you have to be like grandstanding about these things all the time, because it can be exhausting, utterly exhausting, and it can really put people off. So if you want to just be you, and if it comes up as part of conversation naturally, or if people figure it out on their own, then that's fine. And then if people want to talk to you about it, they can come up and maybe talk to you at a gaming event or something else if you don't want to use your platform specifically for that. But just remember that existing and thriving is already like a massive achievement, and it's awesome if you feel able to represent and to talk and to help, with education in the world or just representation or whatever it is. But try not to feel like it's an inbuilt pressure for saying who you are, that you then have all these extra duties. Take it like as however you need to for your own mental health.
And Google is free.
Do I have 6?
Google is free. If anyone questions you or like, you need to teach me this because you're this, Google is free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
I would say have a incredibly good mod team. Find friends,
Yes.
find people who want to like help you succeed. And I am incredibly thankful for my mod team, which I think they're like all in this chat right now. But get a good mod team, just honestly. And if you're like, how do I do that? Like, find the people who are already in your chat, already trying to help. Like there are absolutely in your chat already trying to like how do I help do this? But and make them mods and give them the power to help you. And I am incredibly thankful. It looks like you guys are too, because these mods are incredible.
Get the mods.
They're gonna like this too much, Smashley. I don't know if I can allow my mods to be
It's gonna get to their head.
getting this cheering.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. The next stream I have, they're gonna be like, we're all powerful, and just banning everybody. I'm just like, please stop, please.
What do you feel? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I think there's something to be said for Twitch, for all of the problems it has. If you're somebody who is like can expect some level of harassment, if you're like out and about, like out as LGBT or whatever, Twitch is the best platform for dealing with that moderation wise. And I think when people are looking at all of the questionable stuff that Twitch is maybe doing recently, if you're getting into the space in the first place, the moderation stuff is worth quite a bit. And also, as somebody who's been working professionally in activism, and this is a problem in activism right up to UN level, right down to Twitch chatters. And I'm a dedicated Twitch chatter. I know the effort that goes into it. It's a dedicated way of life. But you can't please everybody, and you shouldn't try to. You see so many people burning themselves out by trying to please everybody. And I don't mean like the random like fly-by-night chatters that are carpet bombing every like LGBTQIA tagged stream with slurs or whatever. I mean like your chatters that you like people in your own community as well. There's a weird parasocial thing within streaming that's not really seen anywhere else. And I keep seeing people trip up on it, particularly when they're younger, and particularly when people come out for the first time. They're like other people here have been out for well over a decade at this point. You sort of get used to that over time, and you stop getting in that trap. But I have seen like decent friends, like good friends of mine, completely burn themselves out from streaming by trying to be like the perfect gay. There is no such thing, and it turns out that gay people can be wrong. And could be annoying.
What?
This is very surprising, I know. This is very surprising. But
Why I never.
Dare you?
but like,
I quit.
it's something that I've dealt with a number of harassment campaigns over the years through the non-streaming work I've done. And that always came from outside the community. There's something that's particularly weird about the parasocial relationships within streaming that it pays to be cautious about. Not that you shouldn't like lean into them from time to time, but you should set boundaries, and you shouldn't expect to Twitch chatters are wonderful, but don't treat random Twitch chatters like friends. I think that's decent advice.
Yeah, if I can add to that, having if you're wanting to get into this, if you're wanting to get into streaming as an LGBTQ creator, of course, you're gonna expect some sort of hate. That's kind of just part of it, unfortunately. So as long as you go into it expecting that to happen, and if it does happen, as long as you're prepared to, if you've got a good mod team that can back you up when you really need it in a time of like urgency, for example, with all of the hate raid stuff that happened and is still kind of happening. I actually was targeted by a hate raid when it was kind of at its peak. And just having, like, for example, this is just a simple thing, but I actually have a button on my Stream Deck that is just a big red button that says defend, and it's really good for in a time of urgency, especially with hate raids. If you get like a massive influx of trolls and people purposefully coming into your chat trying to hurt you and upset you, if you have those steps in place ready to protect yourself and protect your chat, you'll be fine. And just be transparent with your mods. Let them know, hey, if this happens, please, if you can help me out and back me up. And I've seen all the mods in chat, including mine, including like all of the people on this podcast. Like, you guys have got it down. Like, what you're doing. How to look after the chat, look after us, and make it a safe space. But yeah, just make sure you've got people there to help you out. And I think it's important, as Ellen said, just be cautious of people in your chat. Parasocial relationships are like a big thing on Twitch. I will say I've met a bunch of friends through Twitch that are still friends to this day. You just got to be really careful, because you never know if people have got hidden motives, especially if you are more of a target, if you are openly out and things like that. So just be careful. Just be careful like you would be on the street. Just kind of have that cautiousness about you. And if you want to be out, you can be, but you don't feel like you have to be. Like, you don't have to kind of wear it on your sleeve. Like, if you want to be proud of who you are, absolutely go for it. Just remember that there can be implications to that, so just make sure you're safe. That's my biggest bit of advice.
I think because I keep seeing also people thinking that like the shield mode stuff is something you need like a Stream Deck for or anything. I think Twitch did a really good thing, which is why I say it's really good for moderation. The shield stuff is all native.
Yes.
It can be shut down in a single button click on any channel now, which is unique among live stream platforms. Yeah. So it's like a business decision if you're doing that. It's a really good idea to stream here.
Yeah.
For that reason alone.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It is the safest place to stream out of all of them that are out there. We'll not name the one that's currently trending because it's yeah. But
YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, YouTube. It was definitely YouTube. Wasn't the other one, but yeah. This is the safest place to stream. Like it has the, you have the ability to shut things down or put it at sub only or put it in follower mode only for 10 minutes, whatever you need. I have been attacked by hate raids a couple times. And my mods literally put it sub only, banned everybody, as quick as possible. This is before shield. We've never had to use the shield yet, but literally the bans have been crazy. It's like, it's a good day when you see all those bans. You're like, great. I don't know if anybody else.
My job
does
here is done.
Yeah, it's like
One of the
reasons.
One of the reasons why hate raids on Twitch are sort of going away at the moment is because the tools are too good. There's no payoff really. It's only really fun for people when people can't avoid it. Once it's easily shut down and people don't even necessarily notice it, it's not worth the effort for people. So good moderation tools pay for themselves. Try moderating a big YouTube live chat.
Yeah.
Twitch is genuinely good at that.
Yeah, they're getting a lot better, I think, and it shows. It really shows. It's been on the decline for a long time, the issues with that. So yeah, gotta say they're working on it 100%.
It's a lot better than it used to be, definitely. I think the shield mode is basically what I had as my stream deck button. All of the steps that you can put in place and all the different options, like they've implemented that, and I think it's definitely worth looking into, just to see. Like, you never know when you might need it. You might never need to use it, but if you know that it's there, then it's just that extra safety blanket that you need,
Yeah, agreed.
Now I want a blanket. And now I want a blanket.
See, now we need to do the thing where I pass the object because I've got a Hello Kitty one right here.
Hey!
Oh my god! I actually, this is actually like Sanrio that I've got on.
I have a Sanrio Animal Crossing blanket.
Oh, that's so
Like,
cute.
wow.
Yeah.
I mentioned Pokemon. This is a Pokemon.
I know Sylveon. I
It's
saw it
Sailor Moon.
immediately.
I
Sailor
recognize that T-shirt. I think that is actually by my friend Jill Bone.
It is, yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're friends.
Jill's like a long time like convention artist friend that I've known. Like, he streams as well. So I thought I recognized it. I was like, hang on a minute, I'm only gonna mention it if the time's right. But yeah, shout out to Jill. I love his work, and he's a good bean.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And we met at one of the Hyper Japan events, and I immediately wanted to buy everything. Everything I wanted was sold out in my size. And then I had to order them all online, and then he hasn't been able to get rid of me since. So
Yeah, he's got another one.
Now.
Basically how it works though, right? Like it's definitely meet people in random places and you're like, that's it. We're friends for life. You can't get rid of me.
He does awesome little pins, which are like the Star Wars Rebel logo, but in all the different Pride flags as well.
His pins are just god tier. Like I make like enamel pens and stuff myself. Like I make a bunch of different merch. But yeah, he is one that I really look up to for making like merch, because he is just so up there. So yeah, shout out to Jill.
Absolutely. See, I was hoping I might get to shout out a queer creator once.
Yes.
But I was like, oh no, that's I'll just wear the top, and then if someone asks me, then I can. But it's another way that people can support people in the community, is if you know wonderful artists, as we have someone here on the podcast, but also in general, retweet people, get people's voices out there as well. It's another way of supporting the community, that if you you want to do it in a slightly quieter way, just as like aggressively retweeting other queer creators is a way to do it.
Actually, that's another thing. How long have you been doing art, Cow?
So I've been doing art probably for, I've been an artist since I was like, quite a young kid, but I kind of always took the option to progress it through like school and through college and then through university. I did end up dropping out of university, and I don't feel bad about it now because I still get to do art as a full-time job, so it was worth it. But yeah, I've been doing art, you know, like through especially the convention scene. I do, as I said earlier, that I've been doing like Comic Cons, and I you know, I have like these tables, and I have these big setups, and it's been really nice to kind of just like slowly build up my setup and my online store and the types of items that I like to make. And it's also just nice that I get to make my own, you know, like queer representation of merch that fits me as a creator as well. You know, like I like drawing like demon girls and, you know, all of the thickness, and I just get to make the merch that I've wanted to see, you know, like out in the world, and I'm like, hey, I made that, and it's kind of cool that other people like it too. So yeah. And another thing with like Comic Cons and just conventions in general, I feel like they're also quite a queer inclusive space. There's a lot of, you know, my longtime like best friends that are in, you know, the LGBTQ community that I met through, you know, doing art at Comic Cons, and same for, you know, the artist of that t-shirt. Like it's a really nice safe space, and it's the place that I feel the most me as well, because I get to share the art that I like to make that represents me, and also lots of queer creators that I've gotten to meet over the years. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. I think the art community is very much like, what's the best way to say it? More LGBTQ IA accepting than any other.
Absolutely.
They're very
Yeah.
experimental.
No, the art
compared to others.
community, no.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as an art streamer primarily on Twitch, I feel like it's, I mean, I can't speak so much for like gaming streams, because I do the occasional gaming stream, but I'm primarily an art streamer. But being in the art category, it's a very LGBTQ community in general, and it feels a lot safer. I think because it's also a smaller community on Twitch as well. Like there's not many, you know, eyes in the art community. But I don't know what it's like for people that stream games, but yeah, it just feels like a really nice kind of comfy corner of Twitch, and that's kind of how I describe my streams for people that come in to my streams for the first time. I'm like, hey, come join us. We're just drawing anime titties, you know, like, get a blanket, get a pillow. It's a nice safe space. I feel like there's a lot of crossover with you know, like chronically ill people and neurodivergent people as well. As a chronically ill creator myself, I just like to, you know, create a nice safe space for people to come into if they want just background noise, you know, have it a nice comfy corner of Twitch.
Yeah, the few times I've streamed in like the art type categories, because I've done some things like I've done Lego building streams, I've done Gundam building streams. I wouldn't call my art streams. They're more like Nightmare Fuel charity streams. They do involve a paintbrush though. And the times I've been in that category has definitely been like just generally chill people coming in. Like I think if you're sort of watching somebody make something slowly, especially a lot of the art streamers I watch do like watercolors, it's like you just can't really be angry at that. It's like there is nothing adrenaline fueled going on here.
Yeah, it's very zen. It's very, very chill for sure. Lots of lo-fi music is the default, to be honest. You know, just keep the vibes immaculate. If you have a nap while watching, then that's fine. Hopefully it's a good nap and not the kind of nap you wake up to where you don't know what year it is and you're sweating and you're disorientated and you don't know where you are. Yeah.
That's a jeans nap.
So we do have a question from chat here. We have a couple. And I'm gonna go for the first one, and then we'll go for the second one that I can go for. Not the troll comment, by the way, because I mean some people might, but yeah. So, are there any other game categories you feel are more LGBTQ accepting generally? I always find like Animal Crossing. Any FPS games, not so much. But
not so much. No. Star Citizen was surprisingly good. Warframe is surprisingly really good as well. Out of those two come to the top of my head, honestly, because they've just been really, really accepting. But I also think that's and same with Dark Souls actually. But I think that kind of comes with like Dark Souls and Star Citizen kind of comes with like the harder the game is, I feel like the more people just band together in general. So like the worse it is on the players, the more people come together as a community in general and are just accepting of people.
Yeah.
I've definitely find when I'm playing indie games and cozy games, again, it's difficult to go into those streams and be super angry. Like I played Unpacking recently, which if you haven't played it, you need to play Unpacking. I am like the most, or I like to think of myself as the most cold-hearted kind of goth type person ever, and I was genuinely becoming quite emotionally affected by the end of that game, even though you never see the main character directly. But I found that things like that just I had like no issues for the streams that I was playing that game, which was just lovely.
Somebody said Dead by Daylight as well, which
I
don't play that game, but absolutely there's
Yeah.
humongous gay
Behavior
community in Dead by
Interactive
Daylight.
is they do a lot of. They actually just did a front page event, Dead by Daylight, hosted by Twitch's some drag queens on Twitch.
Nice.
Dead by Daylight also just introduced a bunch of LGBTQI+ flags as charms in the game. They have characters that are canonically gay. They're adding a lot of representation, and not just in the game but outside. Behavior Interactive is very vocal about supporting the community, and they shut down any bigots or anything like that. So I would say DVD, surprisingly, is very good.
And
Also-
surprisingly, I was
just gonna say, like, because I don't know if the question is like, what's a good community for queer people as far as the community or the streamers?
That's
But
fair.
I do know, like, there are a lot of communities where I'm like, the community might not be the best, but there are a lot of LGBTQI+ streamers who play that game. I don't know if like that's what they're asking about though.
Surprisingly, I was gonna say Bungie the other day put out their like statement, like this is what pride means to us, and I made the mistake of looking in the comments on
Oh,
that.
never do that.
But wait,
never,
I mean,
never,
hold
never.
on. It has a redemption story. It made me honestly irrationally angry. I was like, oh my god, it was awful. And then I ended up like I ended up clicking on somebody's response, and I didn't realize it was to the same tweet. And I like was scrolling back through, like scrolling to the top of the tweet to see like what is this in response to, and there was like deleted message by author, and apparently Bungie had taken the time to go through and delete every single hateful comment on that post.
What legend!
And I was
That's
like,
amazing.
I was like, okay, well played, honestly. I was
Yeah.
like, thank you. Like every single one was gone, and I was like,
That's
holy
great.
crap. I was like, thank you, Bungie.
Pretty good. We
Yeah,
actually have a
speaking of-
question. Oh, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say, because I play a lot of like Overwatch off stream, and you know, Overwatch hasn't had the best track record with the queer community, but it's been really nice to actually see some recent representation in that game. They actually have some of the maps on the game with like flags and like a rainbow crossing on one of the maps and things like that, and they've got like flag name cards and profile pictures. So it's been really nice actually, like being put in matches and then seeing people with their flags, because I just feel safer. Like it's just nice. You still get a lot of hateful comments and stuff in that community. It's not the best for that kind of thing, but it's just nice to kind of like recognize other like LGBT players in the game. It's been nice.
And the characters too, Lifeweaver, Tracer,
Yes.
Soldier 76, Pharah.
Yeah,
so
they
much-
have a lot of canonically queer characters. So Lifeweaver's pansexual, Soldier 76 is gay, they have Farah, who is a lesbian, and they've got a few characters that are bisexual as well. So yeah, and they're all like canonically that identity, which is really nice. So I'm like, oh, I see you, I like that.
I know a lot
Let's
of
go.
queer streamers who play Overwatch. That's what came to my
Mhm.
mind, is like, I don't know about the community, but I do know a lot
Yeah.
of LGBTQI+ people who play Overwatch.
Yeah, and Apex as well. A lot of the characters are that they've made in that are in the LGBTQ community, which is never really mentioned because it's not like they don't have do you know when you join most games they'll have like an intro to the characters. They don't have like an intro or anything like that,
right.
so they sort of like if you want to get into the lore of the game, it tells you, but it's only if you look into it, which is quite nice. So it's there, but it's not like, you know, you don't have to read about it if you don't want to, type of thing. There is one specifically for Smashley, which was Ghost asked before in the chat. Curtis reminded me. How have you built and curated your community, and what kind of work do you put into it?
Oh, I think I saw this by like 2 different people in chat. So one of the things that like I think Ellen said before is that don't treat every random viewer that comes into your chat like a friend. I tend to treat everyone who comments or or even comes to my chat as a potential friend. I like to greet people as if we're already friends, and I think a big portion of the work that I do to quote unquote cultivate a community is honestly just making sure that people are heard, whether they're being friendly or angry or any of those things. And so like when people comment on like my Twitter posts or my TikToks and that sort of stuff, I make sure to spend time to respond to them. And even if it's something that I'm like, maybe not, maybe I'll just like it or something along those lines, a lot of times that means the world to a whole lot of people. And I like to make sure that people feel welcome in a space that maybe they weren't welcome before, and maybe they're looking for a space like that. And so I try to comment, and that's honestly the most work I put in. I let the rest of the social media platforms I'm on do what they do best and try to interact as best as I can. So
it's quite a nice way to work. It like if it works, it works. And some people, yeah, they just need to, you know, maybe have that comment or, you know, that little prods, and they're like, okay, you know, I understand now. I get it.
Yeah, but I have to say, if I see a one like that first time chatter thing in Twitch chat, I definitely am wary about responding immediately to them. Like that one kind of gets me every time, though. I'm kind of like, is this going to be a bad one or not? And especially like, you can usually tell by the first comment that somebody says in your chat. Like
Yeah.
you usually can tell. Like if somebody comes in and just says hi, you're like, okay, great, I can talk to this person. But if somebody like, it's usually the people that come in and the very first thing they do is ask a really innocuous question that has nothing to do with what's going on the stream. And I'm just waiting for the other penny to drop. And I feel like my mods are too. They're like, I feel like Pazuzu is like sitting there with a band hammer, just like waiting to smash somebody. Like do it, say the mean thing.
Oh, we have bets. We have bets.
My favorite is essay posters. Oh
yeah.
My favorite is people who post essays and their first message lights up. I have it in Chatterino, so blue, like first chatter there. And Bampan is lit up blue because the first time message. And the first message they ever post is literally the character limit on a Twitch message. And it's just the most like this. Like here we go, just like the most detached from reality thing possible. I love that. It highlights my day every single time.
Yeah, it's true. You copy paste like crap you find from Reddit, and you're like, oh, okay, we got another one, guys. Just ban him.
The ASCII Among Us penis.
Yes, I remember that one. Yeah,
that's a classic.
I've had that one.
Yeah,
that's a classic.
Oh, and there's one more tip that I absolutely have to give: is as much as I love treating everyone as if they are a friend or potential friend, is you cannot be afraid to tell someone no or go your own way. Or
that is really important.
You gotta protect your space. And sometimes I struggle with that. Absolutely. But like telling people like, hey, no, go find a different stream. Go, there's plenty of other ones on Twitch. There's literally millions of casters on Twitch. Please go find another one. And I try to make it as nice as possible. But like sometimes people just don't get the hint. And but like protecting your own mental sanity, I think, is a very underrated strategy, if you will, for Twitch. Like people do not utilize that enough and think that like I need every viewer I can, and forget about the fact that like viewers who are being disruptive in chat are ruining the experience for other people who are there for chat. And so it's not just you who's being affected by their hate speech or or their very weird long paragraph long speech that they're dropping in chat as their very first thing. It's not just you, it's other people that are looking at going, what is this person on? And then they feel weird chatting. So like protecting your own space is really,
I think it's
really
much
important.
better to have a smaller, tighter knit group of people
Mhm.
rather than have a
Absolutely.
bigger group of people, but it's the wrong
Mhm.
kind. Like there's fun chaos, and then there's bad chaos where all the nice people will slowly leave because you're
Mhm.
letting people change the vibe. And I think that was something I'm very glad I did do, because like at the start of streaming I was just like, I need more people, but I was like, I couldn't really cope. I don't have like the thickest skin, so I couldn't cope as well with the trolling thing. So I was very quick to just be like, ban, ban, ban. I could get one chance, then ban, ban, ban. And I did that quite a lot at the start. Anytime there was anything that was inappropriate trolling and things like that, I would just be like, I can't clap back at them. I don't have that strength. I'm just like not that kind of funny. So I will just ban, and I kept my numbers a lot smaller for a lot longer. But it meant that by the time I was reaching a slightly broader audience, now if someone comes in and they want to say something that is anything phobic, everyone else in chat is just like, who let this person in? You know,
Yeah.
They are made to feel
Get a
like
load of this
the
guy.
outsider. Yeah, it's, you know, they'll just be immediately in chat just like, right, quick ban them. They've got a little ban hammer emote and they're just like, ban this person. They're just there. They get some kind of like sadistic joy out of it, I think.
Oh, they absolutely do. I have to talk my mods down all the time. I'm like, no, you don't need to ban
No.
now. I'm like, I got this. It's okay. They haven't said anything wrong yet.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, some people, they're just there to get a rise out of you, and that's that. You're not going to convince them to change their hobby. I
No.
occasionally suggest they should take up cross stitch or knitting, and it might be more productive than what they're doing as a hobby, but they don't seem to like that suggestion. So I find that, yeah, just, it feels harsh sometimes, but sometimes you just have to do that. You have to, like, it's kind of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few trolls that you don't want there in the first place. So yeah, go straight in with a ban hammer. If you're not sure if someone's making you feel uncomfortable, sometimes they don't mean to, a lot of the time they do, but sometimes they don't mean to. You still, however politely you do it, you've still got to kind of put those boundaries in place, because you can't be responsible and like parent a lot of these, you know, either, you know, children or adult children, you know, and you have to like make that judgment call of being like, you know, I can just be like, that's not okay here, you know, and I will normally just say, that's not okay, you're breaking the chat rules. You can talk about what we're talking about, or, you know, you can go find somewhere else to be. And they either leave or they do it again and they get banned.
It's true.
And that's...
In addition to that, I feel like that should go for not just trolls. Like that goes for everyone, even long-term community members.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it gets harder, is because people don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want to call someone out who's been in the community for a while. But, you know, sometimes you have to, because, you know, it's easy for a viewer to click out, unfollow, and never see you again. But you're live. You have to deal with that on the spot. You don't get the choice to walk away. So sometimes, even if it's someone who's been in your community for a year, they've been great, but then all of a sudden they do something that crosses a line with you, it's like your responsibility to say it right then and there. That's not okay. Like, please don't do that again, as politely as you can, of course. But if they take it the wrong way and then try to sort of vilify you and make it seem like, oh, you're coming at me so strong, when really all you're doing is setting a boundary, like, you kind of have to just let that go and not take it personally.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're not doing anything wrong. This person just reacts some people out there are very black and white. If you tell them no or tell them not to do something, all of a sudden they're the bad guy. No matter how polite, how lightly you put it. So it's those moments. I mean, for me personally, that's where it was hardest for me, because I did take it to heart really early on, and I would get very upset about it and get flustered and be like, am I an awful person? Like, am I a bitch? I mean, I'm a bitch, but like, was I a bitch in that moment? But now I'm used to it. But I think, just to add on to that conversation, just for any future streamers, like, don't feel like just because someone's been in your community for a long time, just because someone's donated money, just because whatever, it doesn't matter what this person has done. If they cross a boundary, communicate that with them. If they choose to go somewhere else because of that, you did all you can do. You didn't do anything wrong, you know?
Yeah. And doubly so if they bring up the fact they previously subscribed or something as a reason why
that
the rule
does
shouldn't
not.
apply
do
to
you
them.
want to know something? Do you want to know?
That's a big one.
I have a stalker who has been banned many times, comes back on multiple platforms with different accounts. This person told me that they are my boss because they subscribe to me.
Oh
But they
my
were gifted
God.
a sub. Anytime
Classic.
they were subscribed, they were
Yeah.
gifted a sub. They said, "I'm your boss," and I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
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 I
Had that
have a
once
really
before.
good like analogy that can work in real life and also just in streaming. But life is a garden. Pluck the weeds, nurture the flowers. And that just fits everything. Like if there are dicks in your life, if they're taking you if they're taking advantage of you, if they
Not the dicks you
if
want.
they've paid exactly like if they've paid to support you and they think you owe them something and they get to treat you like shit, like you don't have to keep them in your community. Like you have every right to kick anyone that is either making you feel uncomfortable or as you said, even if they've been in the community for like a couple of years, if they suddenly are like, hey, I've given you X amount of money, that doesn't matter. Like that's their issue. Like you can kick them out, make it a safe space for you. Don't feel like you have to keep them there because of that reason. So
I agree.
yeah, get rid of those weeds. The flowers are the good ones that you want to look after.
We had we still have to this day. We had an ex-mod of ours we banned a long time ago because I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, we fell out with him and he didn't like the boundaries we set. This is years and years ago. And he started to become a bit weird after we just told him we don't want him, we're removing him, that's it. That's the end of the discussion. And anyway, he started showing up to all the events we went, started stalking us to the point where he would sit a table away from us while we were speaking to a Twitch staff member at like a Twitch London event and just stared at us. And then about a month later after that, he donated a quite a large amount of money. I didn't realize it was him, and then he started donating, and I was like, I realized he started saying, "Oh, I'm feeling suicidal and stuff like this." And when I checked the email, because I was like, I don't know who this is. Like, this is a bit weird, a random person donating this much money. So I had a look, and I seen the email. I was like, oh shit! So I banned them from donating anymore. They gifted a crazy amount of subs. Yeah, I think I've told you about this because it was a crazy thing. And I was like, this guy's trying to guilt trip me into unbanning him and making it so that... Anyway, nothing happened to him, by the way. He's still going. No problems, by the way, for anybody wondering. Because it was trying to guilt trip you. And it was just like... At that point, I sort of went off after the stream. And after I banned him, I had to ban him from gifting subs after that when he finally started typing in chat. And I was like, right, okay, I can't have that again. That's just not... I need to make sure I set my boundaries up better. But it was trying to manipulate me into unbanning him, allowing him back in a community that I had to get rid of him from in the first place. And stalking in real life and staring at us and trying to go into other people's streams and also stalk us from that distance where he'd go around our friends and connect to them. So boundaries is more important than ever, that I realized that I can't do that again. I let him into part of my life that I, to me and Simon's as well, because there's two of us, but he abused that. Something shocking. And I have one mod from back then that's still there, Mecca, who's been 5-6 years plus, and yeah, it was a crazy time. So I think boundaries, 100%. Do what you have to do to protect yourself, big time, because it can go crazy and you don't even realize. Like, definitely. And we do have actually a question here, and I'm trying to not miss it. I'm so sorry. There's 2 questions here that are very important. I apologize if I'm not getting around to them. Rage, we did touch on yours, but if we have time, if everybody's going to stay, we'll try and answer it quickly. But it's 1M's one, which again, not everybody has to answer this. Please just keep that in mind. If you don't want to answer it, you can avoid this one. Where is it? Okay, it's basically... Let me just bring this up. I'm sorry, because there's so much chats. We've missed the question. Okay, right. This might have been asked before, but what are your thoughts on rainbow capitalism? Is it the case of a company showing their support for their community, or just corporations selfishly trying to make money from the movement? If anybody wants to answer that, you're welcome to. This one is very, very tough. It depends on the corporation, to be honest. Everything's different, and it is dependent if they are always supportive or not. You always find companies reach out more to creators on Pride Month than any other month. I understand they want to be supportive, and I get it, but it does suck that it is only considered Pride Month, or they only want to show off on Pride Month type of thing. Again, it depends on the creator and their track record, the company and the track record, rather than just, that Pride Month. So I'm happy with them celebrating it. Just depends on their track record from previous. If anybody else wants to answer that, you're welcome to.
It's definitely both, isn't it? It's a combo. If they never talk to you the rest of the year, then it is probably ticking some boxes. If they do it in some countries, but mysteriously in other countries I won't name, that same advertising doesn't appear or is heavily edited, that might not be entirely sincere. But on the other side of it, as someone who grew up with no representation and therefore didn't know what I was, even if they don't mean it, they're still to some degree potentially helping. So it is very much mixed. I prefer it if they're going to just tokenly pretend to support us or only remember to do it 1 month a year, that they give some of the proceeds of whatever it is to a relevant charity or something, because then I don't really care. So it's such a varied thing, but they're there to make money. That's the primary thing. And one person may be fighting all year, and the only time they can do that is that month, but they want to do it all year. You just can't possibly know the individuals behind like the big corporation that's talking to you.
It starts good conversations, though, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And I think in general, it feels bad to us to be asked that way, be like, oh, it's June, do you want to come do the thing because it's Pride Month, right? It feels bad for us, but in general, I think we were all talking about this earlier, that representation matters, and that like any sort of representation that we can give helps. And I think it hurts more if a company doesn't do that. Right. If a company doesn't come through during June and is completely silent and doesn't, and especially if you've like believed in them and supported them and stuff, and just like completely dead air during June, it's like, okay, well, you could have stepped up. And so I feel like that's almost worse. So like, I'll take the like, hey, we want to feature you for this thing, or do you want to come on and do this art for this thing or something, like I'd much rather have that than no representation at all.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think my take on this is, if you want this, like from a worker point of view, like if a company is going to be good for like LGBT staff or whatever, it's usually a better gauge to see how they, for example, what their stance is on, I don't know, unions, than whether they put a flag up. But it is true that there is some value to like LGBT equality indexes, etc. But I think the real value is for staff, because like our community is very underemployed in a lot of areas, especially the trans community. On the customer side, I think we're seeing some of the limitations of rainbow capitalism or whatever this year, especially in the United States, where previously very out and colorful, bedecked in glitter companies are starting to pull back. And as a very jaded, decade-long, like full-time activist, we knew that it would happen at some point. I think putting your faith in community is better than putting your faith in companies. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that community.
Yeah. So you've noticed it too, by the way, because I feel like this Pride Month has been like the least prideful. I don't know if you guys have felt that way too.
It's not been exciting, yeah.
There's an organized, centralized push by small parts of the American religious right that are seeping through the English-speaking world and parts of Latin America. I've studied the far right for about 6 years, specifically on anti-LGBT stuff, and this has been in the works for about 3 years. It's not surprising that it's happening now, but it is disappointing that it's having such success. They won't win. but in the short term, it'll be difficult for people.
I mean, eventually they can't win because, you know, science guys, it's just like there's nothing they can do. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, you know, whether like it or not, being LGBTQIA plus, like if you're part of that, or if you are identify with one of the lovely letters that we have, or part of the rainbow in whatever way you want to say it, it's not a choice. But you know, of course, as you said, like the religion is. So whether you like it or not, it is. And we see that mostly in Northern Ireland. I think me and Ellen can definitely agree with that. We see that a lot. It's definitely a choice. So, you know, and being mean and being nasty is 100% a choice as well. You make that choice. It's not something, you know, so it's like, well, you'll definitely not win, but we just got to keep fighting it and just got to, you know, deal with it for whatever we can and keep pushing back. But I do agree. Pride has been lackluster this year compared to others. I honestly, I've seen so many, like I'll say I struggled to find creators this year who wanted to sort of, you know, jump on the podcast, and it was more of the fact that some people were busy, you know, some people had time, and then like others just didn't. I had only one person just said, I don't want to be in a podcast to speak about my experience, and I was like, that's okay, understandable type of thing, because they were just worried about how communities would react to them. And that could be because of, you know, how the other stream platforms are. You know, it could be because of that they were worried, and that's okay, that's fine. But, you know, I definitely see where they're coming from with that. It is tough, you know, to be on and just being able to speak about yourself in a way. So it can be pretty tough. There is one other one. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. It was Rage's one. Is there anything? Well, because it can leave it on a lighter topic, but what is the thing you're most proud of for the LGBT community? Like, is there something that you guys are proud of, or you've seen something amazing in the community? It could be something uplifting that you've seen and you've just like, I'm proud to be part of this community. If anybody got anything to go on.
It's sort of a generalized thing, not anything like specific instance. But I'm just proud of all the LGBTQI plus streamers on Twitch. Whether you are closeted or not closeted, whether you speak openly or, you know, are, you know, a more forthwith representative of the community, because I know I can speak on my personal experiences. I've had people say that they can come out of the closet, or they can sort of discover something about their own identity simply by either watching me or talking to people in my community. So all of us here and all of the other LGBTQI plus streamers on Twitch are doing that for people. And as we said many times, representation matters. And we are, whether we want to or not, we are representation for people who are watching us. And it might not seem like a big thing, but I think for a lot of people out there it is. And I know that if I had something like Twitch growing up, I would have come to terms with who I was a lot sooner. And I would have been a lot happier and not felt so alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good here, everybody here, and everyone, good job. I love you.
Hey. All right, so I know we're running out of time. I don't want to keep you too much then. Would everybody like to do their own outro? It's up to you guys. My mods are going to shout you out completely in between while you do this. So mods, please get ready. We can start off. Ellen, would you like to go first this time?
Sure, absolutely. If you're just joining, my name's EllenFromNowOn here on Twitch. I do a lot of IRL streams, news analysis on human rights, the sort of stuff I've been talking about towards the end of the stream here, and GeoGuessr, City Sim, that sort of dweeb games. I'm Northern Irish, just like Quinny. I'm going to be trying to do a classic car show in the Sneal van tomorrow. Unfortunately, the cat didn't turn up. He's probably hiding from the rain at the moment. But for the rest of this month, I'm raising money for a local trans community centre here in Belfast, which is one of the ways Northern Ireland's actually kind of ahead of the rest of the UK and Ireland, which is nice. If you're on Twitch as like a traditional Twitch user and you're mostly gaming, check out the IRL stuff. Check out, like, with other art streamer here as well, check out the stuff that isn't gaming. Because if you haven't got stuck to this website from the gaming yet, you might get stuck to it from like watching people ride motorcycles around or do, I don't know, wood whittling, making spoons, or whatever it might be. But best place to find me is on Twitch and Twitter. EllenFromNowOn everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you for joining us today. Chao, would you like to go next?
Yeah. I mean, I've said this a bunch tonight, but yeah, come check out the art section of Twitch if you've never seen it before. It might be, you know, your new favorite thing. It's a nice chill time. Yeah, I just like to, you know, draw sexy women. So if you're into that, you know, you might find your thing. But I also do YouTube videos, so I make like studio vlogs of kind of what I get up to when I'm not streaming, when I'm running my own small business and selling at conventions and stuff. So that's also another thing that I do. I'm also at TwitchCon Paris, so if anyone's at TwitchCon Paris, I am going to be in the artist alley. So yeah, you can actually see the kind of stuff I, you know, make and draw and design in person if you're going. So let me know in the chat if you go in. But yeah, you can find me, you know, on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everything apart from Twitter is ChaoIllustrations. My name was too long for Twitter, so it's Chao_draws on Twitter. But yeah, come say hi. I'd love to meet some new people in the chat. So thank you for having me as well. I really appreciate being part of this. So happy Pride, everybody.
Thank you, Chao.
Happy Pride!
Happy
Happy Pride!
guys. And you definitely had everybody's attention with the sexy woman. Look at that. Chat was very happy about that. Boobs.
Yeah, chronic
that's it.
cuties and demon booties. That's my whole thing.
Demon thighs save lives.
Yes.
Trista, would you like to go ahead?
Hi, I'm TristaBytes. I'm TristaBytes on everything because no one else wanted the name, so that was nice and convenient for me. So I'm on all different social media platforms and TikTok and Twitch, and I used to do presenting on YouTube before that point, which included interviewing lots of indie game developers and indie comic book creators. If you're looking for new things to read or play, there'll be some little undiscovered gems in there. I also host on stage at various gaming and comic book events, so you might see me hopefully at some of those, in which point come up and say hello. But yeah, I stream. I'm full-time here on Twitch as well, currently playing Diablo, but also very soon I'll be doing the aforementioned nightmare-inducing face painting stream for charity very soon. Sorry.
No more blobbies. Oh my god.
I'll top it with the next one, don't worry.
It's okay. We'll scar Toph and Smashley and send him a video of Blobby.
I like scary things.
Go ahead, Toph.
Hi, my name is Toph. You can find me on twitch.tv/Toph. Toph Games, one word on everything else, because Avatar made my name really hard to find on basically any
Oh
platform.
no.
Oh god.
Yeah, everyone thinks my name is Toph. It's Toph, like Topher. I do a lot of Nintendo indie stuff, so if that's your thing, you can come on over. I stream 4 or 5 days a week. And also, if it's okay to quickly plug this weekend, my stream team that I'm a part of, Rainbow Arcade, one of the largest LGBTQI+ stream teams on Twitch, is doing a weekend-long marathon with all members taking 2-hour time slots. We're raising money for the It Gets Better project. So if you want to discover a whole bunch of new LGBTQI+ streamers, that's what our team is there for. So you can find that at twitch.tv/Rainbow Arcade, one word.
I think I seen the tweet of that actually. I'm gonna put that in Twitter. So in chat. There you go, guys. Make sure you check that out as well, because everybody's linked there, and I believe Donna was on it and Ben. So I know all too well.
Yes. Donna was her slot was this morning, or their slot was this morning.
I seen, yeah. I seen this. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because I've missed it. There we go. Okay. By the way, no more questions, chat. We're actually wrapping up. So just in case, I don't want to miss anything, but just in case we are wrapping up, we can't keep everybody all night. But you're welcome to follow everybody in chat and go and ask them as well in their own chats. I actually encourage you to, because I watch every single person here, so I recommend do so. And Smashley, would you like to go ahead?
I will close this out, I guess. I'm Smashley. I've been broadcasting on Twitch for 8.5 years. You guys can find me by literally just Googling Smashley on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all the platforms, all the things. If you guys want me to motivate you to work out, which you should be anyways, I can do that, or you can watch me break some games or do some crazy pilot stuff. come hang out with me. It's fun.
I agree because you have encouraged me to work out more, and I am
Good,
definitely
you
tired of it.
should.
So I need to. I'm trying.
All right,
I'm trying.
they started calling me Ab Mother, and I'm just like, how did this happen? Like, good lord.
New stream name. That's it. You're gonna have to rebrand now. Ab Mother.
Rebrand to Ab Mother.
I'm just picturing you as
the
a great fairy from Zelda. Great fairy from Zelda, but like fairy ab mother. Just...
Yeah, that's
Fairy Ab Mother!
Oh my god.
Perfect.
Grant abs to people.
Oh my god! You
and
got
by the way,
2023 is.
I'm officially I'm a lady of Scotland now. Pazuzu bought me a tiny piece of land and that has a tree on it. And,
There's bound to be a Scottish person in chat who's
yeah.
about to get mad.
Yeah, they're about to get really mad or something.
There's at least one Scottish person about to get mad in chat.
Oh my god! The Scottish people are asking where. They're like, we're going there. We're gonna visit.
Not that property. Yeah, that one. But hey, it's really cool. Listen, it's cool, and it helps keeps trees in Scotland. So it's my land now.
Oh dear.
We'll fight over it later. We'll have a very tiny battle for that one piece of land.
As long as you wear a
Smallest ever
kilt, they'll
picnic.
probably be happy. As long as you wear a kilt, play the bagpipes, doesn't matter. They're all happy about it. It's all fine. And love iron brew. You ever had iron brew? I don't like it myself, but iron brew is the drink of choice.
You
It's
know
not
all
alcohol.
of the stereotypes about Scottish people.
yeah, you really do.
One of my
It's-
mods is
it's-
Scottish.
It's
Like-
literally just their water. Like that's what they have in their tea, That's their drink of choice. Also, massive shout out to Queenie. Can everyone in chat
Yes,
Oh,
hype her up?
absolutely.
Thank you
Really,
so much
Queenie.
for having us. Happy Pride Month. Thank you for hosting this. Actual queen.
Actual
I'm
queen.
trying.
Actual queen, yes.
Thanks so much.
Crown. If we can get a load of hearts in the chat, both for our incredible host and also for all the mods as well, and the incredible
Aw.
job they've done.
Have the
Blue
mods.
as
Thank you,
well.
mods.
And blue as well for all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Emergency tech
Them.
running in. That was
Thank you
that was
so
a fast
much.
movement.
He's so stressed,
And all the
man.
pride emojis in chat. All the pride emojis.
Yeah. And also, can I
also-
say shout out to everybody else's mods as well? I see you guys in chat, and I can tell who's a mod and who's not. Amazing, well done. You supported my mods as well. Thank you guys, that was insane. Thank you for helping them out as well, and just eating anybody who's being, a pain. So, yeah.
I hope you don't die over the course of the rest of the 24-hour stream. I know how rough they are.
Oh yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I just got back from Japan, so I'm trying to get the Diablo
Oh,
level
gosh.
100.
I believe in you. You can
He
do
wins
it.
over at least.
I might be able to get to there. Well, at least I'm doing it now and not in, the middle of July, because that is a loud month. I'm sure Ellen knows exactly what I'm talking about. I cannot.
I'm in front of an orange wall. It's marching season in July. And I get asked for all of the wood boards today if they could take them for the bonfire. So no, it is the season is upon us.
Yes, it is.
The season is upon us.
Yes, it is. It gets louder
very
every
loud
year. Yeah, it is a loud month. I could cry, but as long as it don't wake me up.
I'm IRL streaming the bonfires this year as a
Oh,
little plug.
God.
So if you want to see just how mad this place is, 11th of July is
Jesus.
I needed to get a heat shield for the camera. So
I will raid you that day just
my
to
GoPro
see.
my GoPro melted last year, so I had to get a heat shield.
Yeah, that's
It's good
GoPros are
fun.
Oh
expensive.
my gosh.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Do you know what? I will read you that day just for a lull. My community don't know how bad Northern Ireland is. I just want them to see, just for the experience.
It's good
an
fun.
experience. It
The thing
is.
is, everybody's so nice at them, but
It might be the ones that you're at. The one I'm at is a very small country bumpkin
oh yeah,
one.
no, in Belfast it's different.
Belfast would be quite nice. Yeah, the one I'm at, not so much. But yeah, the ones in Belfast are a lot better. Definitely. We are gonna wrap it up there. Then I'm gonna link all you guys out. I honestly, I can just say I watch every single one of you guys. Obviously, Chow, I'm more newer to your channel, but I just want to say thank you so much for being absolutely awesome. I've met some of you in real life as well. Obviously not Ellen yet. Unbelievable how we've not met. This country is so small. But like, you guys are honestly amazing creators, amazing representation from the community. So thank you so much for being here and just speaking about your whole career has been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much, guys. And guys, if you don't follow every single one of them, you're just failing at life. Go and do it. Go and do it, guys. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. And if you're ever up for another podcast, please say, because I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you,
Guys,
chat.
thank you everyone for hanging out with us. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, thank you, chat.
Cheerio.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
That has wrapped up. There we go. All right. Just in case any sound comes up, I'm like, oh, okay, just in case anybody says anything. No, that was really good. For the technical, the start was pretty good. Also, shout out to Twitch for the front page time.